Okay, we got some breakfast in us, courtesy of Julian and Valerie. Whoa, look at these. Those are pretty. We're about to go. It's only like 10 miles to sort of the center of Hamburg, so we should be able to get to it and get out of it before the day is over, which is nice. It's a nice blend of things to do. Hey, you want to leave the squirrels alone? Let's go. Whee! For as nice as like buildings and shelter and space and yada yada feels at night, like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing that people just have houses and can go home. And in the morning, I always feel sort of confined. Like, oh, I want to be back out there. It's silly. A lot of car noises, so forgive me for that. But I just got I got hit by this overwhelming sense of like, oh, it's so nice to be back outside with the noise and the sun and this breeze and the air and the trees and the grass and just the noise. Oh, it felt so good to be back after just sleeping. So I haven't been away for very long. As we're going around the cemetery, there's this place kind of buried in the woods. It looks like a bunch of tiny homes or maybe a campground, but they look like they're inhabited maybe full time, and they've definitely got individual personalities. Kind of cool how it existed. There were sort of similar structures and setups walking through some of the green spaces yesterday too, so very impressive that such a big city not only has green space, but parts of it that are usable by some of the citizens for dwellings. Here's some more of what I'm talking about. There's these interesting small homes. I don't know if they're inhabited year-round. They are. They just have a different approach to living. Got lucky. Happened to walk by a pet food store because I kept forgetting that I need puppy food. Finally. It's been a long time. I've been dealing with food from grocery stores. This will be much better for him. Full of treats, always ready to reward the good behavior. I'm guessing someone did some magnet fishing here in this river, and then just the stuff they didn't want, they just left right here. One thing I learned was that this bridge is one of over 2,500 in the city limits, which makes it the most bridged city, I think, in the world. But definitely Europe. I'm pretty sure the world, though. I love that seating area. Right overlooking in the water. I also learned that Hamburg has the most wild geese anywhere in the world. Just kidding. I just made that up. But there are a lot of geese right here in this particular park for some reason. Okay, other things I learned about Hamburg. Germany is made of 16 states. So 3 of those states are city-states, whereas in the city takes up the entire state. One of them is Hamburg, the other one's Berlin, the third is Bremen. Hamburg is the second largest city in Germany and the 8th or 9th largest in all of Europe, which I did not realize. Hamburg is probably actually how it's pronounced by locals. Has 5 of the world's 100 tallest churches, of which I think those are a few. Smallest UPS truck delivery thing I've ever seen. Up, been 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 up, and it keeps going. One problem with my whole don't look things up thing I've got going on right now is I have no idea what any of these things are, or why this one's missing its roof now. You can see where the old roof line used to be. In these columns even, you can see where they've been capped. It would have made a roof line. Mystery sort of adds to the grand allure of it all. I'm gonna Google it in a little bit to confirm what I suspect, because even though there's like an exhibition, it's not about the church itself, it's about the Warsaw Uprising. But I suspect with the sort of nature of the building and the remnant that this was a impact that World War II had on Hamburg. All that's left is the steeple of this church, and here the rest of it, the nave, the choir, is gone. All that's left is a few pillars. All these capped things that are capped in lead used to be the arches that was supported the roof. There is an elevator that you can take to the top of the steeple, which is the tallest in Hamburg, and I think one of the tallest in the world. That is pretty stunning. It looks like they've even left the color of sort of explosions and burning and stuff on the stone instead of cleaning it to really bring the impact home of what happened. Here's what the church looked like when it was destroyed in 1943. Here's confirmation. Can't tell if this is just designed to look like carpet. Yeah, that's what I think. Okay, you're gonna have to forgive my probably questionable pronunciation, but this is a row of warehouses called Speicherstadt, which means city of warehouses. I think huge. Goes on for a long time, like about a mile. Some of the crazy aspects about it, the entire thing was built in the harbor. So this is all artificial land built on trees driven into the water, long oak trees. So all these everything you see, I think, was built like Venice, all on wood piles driven into the soil at the bottom of the water and then built on top of. In this case, it was oak tree. That's how Venice was built, by the way, if you didn't know that. Venice was built in a harbor. So this is pretty much the exact same thing, but not as old. So crazy stuff is like half of it or more was blown up during World War II, and they've rebuilt a lot of it. These are still actively used as warehouses, at least a number of them. Apparently, companies that operate out of these warehouses supply more than a third of the world's total supply of carpeting, which is, I think, why this right here is modeled to look like an old rug, even though it's made out of stone. It's pretty cool. It blows my mind. That is so many bricks, which is a weird takeaway to have, but it's real. It goes on and on. It actually turns and then keeps going for another half mile or so. You know where would be an awesome place to sleep is right there. There's a staircase right there leading down to that little platform. Be a little bit of a precarious place, but be an award-winning shot, that's for sure. Again, I'm sorry that I'm coming across as uninformed, whereas really what I'm trying to do is maintain the sense of like excitement that it gives me to stumble upon things for the first time and learn about by seeing them instead of learning about them ahead of time. So I'm really sorry about that. But right next to this giant warehouse city, I think they're building like a huge new development of residential, commercial, office space, theaters. I think the opera, like the huge building is over here. I think it's called like Hafen City, is how I would pronounce it as an American. Maybe Hafen City. And it's really nice, and it's right next to this, literally across the street. And I think it's like the biggest urban development, one big project in all of Europe, like this century or something. Bumpity, 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 right? Don't ask me why, but I love these round doors that are all the same, or at least the entranceways are round, all the way up. So unbelievably much. Triple doors for some reason. Why would you need 3 doors right next to each other on every floor? Who knows? I just noticed this too. See the style of that little, I don't know, pyramid looking thing? Where they've got it covered up in some sort of construction material. They drew it on the construction material. So at least you knew what was underneath the tarp. I know I must sound like a broken record at this point, but I genuinely am just filled with just inspiration when I see things like this, and when I think of the fact that this used to all just be open water, and they literally just took a bunch of trees, shoved them in the water, and then built all this on top of it, it just fills you with this, oh man, I don't know what it is, just excitement, happiness, I guess. Who knows why cool things make you feel good? That's how this makes me feel. It's like watching an action movie, I suppose. You know, those action sequences that just make you stand up and cheer? Just the thought of what they've done here and seeing it firsthand is kind of what that does to me. I think this is arguably the most famous view. Tell me, does having a random American boy's face in the frame make the view better? Or does it make it infinitely worse? There's one sans white boy face. One thing I find mildly surprising is there's actually sort of a lot of access points down to the water that aren't roped off or anything. So you can just go down there, take a little dip. I'm sure if you'd want to. I'm not sure how sanitary this particular stretch of waterway is. As you can tell, it's later, 8:20. We've only gone 13 miles. A lot of it has just been meandering. So not as much forward progress as I thought I was going to make today. And even less is going to happen given that I actually did book a hotel. I'm feeling this place. And I didn't want to have to worry about getting out of it far enough to find a suitable campsite. Want to know something cool? We took trains to get to Stockholm to then begin walking. And one of the transfers was in that building. So now we've walked back after 2 months. This must be the hall of basketball players. Something tells me both those guys would be pretty good. Definitely found the city's homeless population. Pretty decent number of them. taking over that whole area. You can tell it's been a long time thing too, because they got a permanent police presence. It's always sad. Hard problem to fix though. Certainly beyond my skill set. That one's our lucky number tonight. You excited? You know, your lip got stuck on your tooth? They do not make elevators in Europe like they do in America, size-wise. Jack's in the corner, I'm in the other corner. We barely got in here. Another thing I can't say for sure, if it's all European elevators or it's just the one we were in, it did not like open back up if it got interrupted. It kept trying to shut it. If you wanted to open back up, because I needed more space to get this out, you had to heave it back. And if you stopped heaving, it went back. It didn't like cut me in half or anything, but it did make me struggle with it for about 2 minutes, where I could have gotten out of the way if it would just open back up for 10 seconds. So what I'm saying is, it's a dumb system. They're trying to get me to hustle. It did the exact opposite, unintentionally. There's our room. Not a terrible room either. I think the only form of climate control is this fan, which is surprising because the hotel is actually kind of nice looking. But there's a shower, there's a bed, and we will not be robbed. In order to get this out of the door frame, I just had to move the bed diagonally. So I think that's gonna be it for today. I just realized I put almost 900 miles on these shoes, and my feet still feel fine. So, Hoka Goat Runners, I think they're called, if you're looking for a good pair of durable shoes. Keep your time. All done. Checkout time for this room was noon. It's only 10:50. Can guarantee you they don't have to worry about anybody staying too late in the summer because there's no climate control. And it's about 100 degrees in here. So hot. Oh, so hot. Alright, today we really are just gonna kind of work our way on out of town. To me, it kind of looks like that building is covered in bottle caps. You wouldn't believe me if I told you how humid it was. It is. There's the new Symphony Hall, or it's right on the harbor. I wonder if those staircases are usable or if they're just emergency exits. Way up there. I can't remember how far below the surface of the water we are, or like how far below the bottom of the river we are. But this bridge was built in like 1907. It allows bikes and people and dogs. There's the mouth of the tunnel. I've decided I am going to go to Amsterdam. I don't really care if I take longer. I don't think I'm going to finish this journey in 3 legs, 3 stints anyway. So might as well make that 4th one longer than like a week or 3 weeks or a month or something. So might as well take my time with it a little bit, which means I think I'm going to be doing this walk for at least 3 years of my life. Here are the last few facts I wanted to share about Hamburg as we're leaving. 1, it used to be its own sovereign state. Like it was its own nation until like 1878 or something. Really late. 2, it suffered heavy damage during World War II. During some of the bombing raids, they found out this new method of bombing, which didn't just blow things up, but it would create wildfires. And so what would happen is they'd launch these incendiary devices, which would not only, like I said, destroy, but it would consume everything and turn it on to fire. So an insane fact that I read said that when this happened to Hamburg, when one of these incendiary bomb raids happened, the estimated death toll from like one operation was around 40,000. The reason they had to estimate it is because there was no bodies. They just had to sort of estimate based on the amount of ash. Crazy. It's so hard to talk about with any sense of correctness. It's just such a hard-hitting subject. I don't know why. I plan on asking him though. So does Jack. We're traveling the same direction though, so it's kind of nice. boggles my mind how many bricks it takes to make some of these buildings at industrial scale. Fascinates me. Okay, it is 2:44 p.m. 7.37 miles in today. We're still sort of in this industrial space. I actually kind of like walking through these areas because they tend not to be seen. I just talked to a lad and lady named Robin and Teresa. They're from Norway. I must look vaguely, or at least passably Norwegian, because a lot of Norwegians who are visiting this area who see my sign come up to me and start talking in Norwegian. Now I just have to be like, American. Those are some dark clouds. All of it. Probably edit out that strobe effect. All right, rain has stopped, finally, but I'm out of chocolate, which is almost as unacceptable. That's not chocolate. Well, I'm also out of apples. Not anymore though. Ladies, not seeing my stuff. When it comes to eating, I am a man of habits, unfortunately. Okay, we're actually nearing our destination. Found a lady on one night tent who said we could stay. That's lovely. Jackie's such an energetic dog. He's got all this energy. Look how fast his feet move, flashing like a lightning storm. I think this is our lucky winner. All right, yeah, pretty sweet deal. We found the right place. This is Elizabeth, and she asked if I needed anything. I said I had to clean clothes, and said they could do a little load of laundry for me, which is very nice. And then this whole platform that I found her on is called One Night Tent. That's the whole thing. Is they don't really, people sign up for it if they want to help. They don't really want to have strangers in their house because that is a big leap of faith, but they feel comfortable having people stay out in tents, and they often are reciprocity. They are also often the recipients of people allowing them to stay in tents when they go on cycle rides and long distances. So this is her yard. That's where we can set up our tent. It just started raining, as I mentioned, so I'm just going to wait for it to maybe ease up a tiny bit. And then I really appreciate the spot, having a safe place where you know you're allowed to be. You don't have to hunt so much. You sleep a little better because you're not like sleeping lightly, seeing if anybody's gonna come wake you up or call the police on you, and just a really good thing. Queen. Okay, all that remains is to set up my tent just here on the grass. It'll be great, so see you tomorrow.